Well, there you have it. So, do you want to be right or do you want to be effective? I mean, I get it. It's never really been a better time to be a man. There's also never been a more difficult time in knowing what that means. When you think about it, it's the first time in history that you're not required to kill yourself in order to keep things chugging along. It's a freedom that every other man in history worked very hard to make happen. They worked, and they gave it to us. They handed it to us on a silver platter, built from the broken backs of their labor. And what are people doing with it? Some are throwing it away. They're sheep looking for shepherds, always looking for some other demagogue to fill that hole. Others are acting the way they think a man acts, as if they read about it in a comic book. Symbols of masculinity are all over the place. Do anything you can to make it appear like you're a man without having to put any work or effort into doing it. Not enough of us are enjoying this gift we've been given and making the best of it. It reminds me of when photography was invented. So before then, art was always about painting something that looked as realistic as possible. But once the camera was invented, it wasn't required anymore. A machine can do it better, cheaper, and quicker. And so art had an existential crisis. The next 100 years were them looking for what art means when it's not about representing the outside world. And we're kind of in that same boat now. Back to the topic, though. My question to you: do you like being a man? Or do you like everybody else thinking that you're a man? That sounds like validation seeking. You're right. What? You thought validation seeking was just about women? Nah, man. When it comes to sex, you're not just competing for the attention of women, but the attention of men as well. They call it intersexual and intrasexual competition. Anyways, I'll skip the science mumbo-jumbo. A great book that kind of goes into the details here are the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. It's a very ominous sounding book. I'm sure you guys have heard the terms dark triad thrown around a bunch. But at its core, it's about situational awareness, deliberate action, and losing that timidness when you act. For the topic of this video, I'm going to talk about two of my favorite laws. Say less than is necessary, and guard your reputation with your life. They're both important because during your time on this earth, you're going to have conflict with people. You're going to have conflict with women, and you're going to have conflict with men. The way you handle it is going to make you look better or worse, both when it comes to the attention of women and when it comes to the attention of men. I'm sure you've heard that saying, the kind of man that women want and men want to be. That's just hit. So the first one, say less than is necessary. There is a problem that men have where our ego loves to talk and loves to soothe itself. The problem is, our ego isn't our friend. A lot of the time, people are going to get things wrong about you. They're going to slander you, they're going to say mean things about you, and your first instinct is to worry about your reputation. The thing is, people don't care. The only one that cares is you. So the worst thing you can do is open your mouth and say too much. When somebody is sitting there slandering you, talking a bunch of trash, always say less than is necessary. If the information is wrong, correct the information. People will come to their own conclusions. Better yet, people pay attention to status more than anything. Often, people can say the absolute worst things about you. Just so long as you're a good guy to hang out with, you're fairly attractive, charming, you have your act together, people will gladly assume the other person is lying. I mean, it doesn't hurt if they actually are lying, which, assuming you've been paying attention to me, you have gotten your crap together and act like a normal, decent human being. The other thing to keep in mind is that guilty people are very adamant that you don't think they're guilty. So often, if somebody accuses you of something, the more you defend against that, the guiltier you look. It's called deering. I have a video on it too. I'll try to remember to put a link on the end cards at the end of the video, so pay attention to the end. The next thing, when somebody really has it out for you and they love throwing attacks at you, after a while, people start to wonder why they're so adamant about attacking you. It draws more attention to them than it does to you. After all, haters gonna hate, right? This is where those same tools that you're gonna use for women come in handy for men. And that's agree and amplify, amuse mastery, or fogging. So just use gentle humor and a little bit of mockery. Have fun with it. If somebody calls you a incel or virgin or whatever it is they want to call to make fun of you, just laugh. Go with it. Oh yeah, of course. Totally like that. By you not taking it seriously, you're signaling to everybody else that they're not taking it seriously. But you're not dwelling on it either. If you were to say nothing else but protecting your reputation, people eventually start to wonder why you're trying so hard. It's always about who's trying harder here. So to sum up, one of the things that's important about being a man is holding your reputation as sacrosanct. Two great ways of doing this is based off of the 48 laws of power, are to say little and to defend your reputation properly without your ego investment. And the thing is, I get it, it's gonna be hard. When somebody is giving out incorrect information about you, every instinct you have, every fiber of your being wants to go out there and correct them. Nothing is worse than being slandered, especially when they're lies. But here's the thing. A true man, and this hasn't mattered whether it was cavemen, whether it was men 100 years ago, or it's men today. Real men are very confident in what they do and who they are. They're very self-assured, and they got their shit together. Real men don't feel the need to defend themselves because they don't have to. They've already proven their worth. Now, if you haven't done the work yet, that's probably why your need to defend yourself is so much higher. In that case, take the loss, just ignore it and get back to work. Get to that point where your confidence is good enough that you can laugh off these attacks. So let's say you did everything you were told not to do here. You opened your big stupid mouth, you said too much, you defended a little too hard against your reputation. Now what do you do? Well, there's a solution, but you're probably not going to like it. If you've been accused of something, let's say being called a liar, let's say you didn't adequately defend yourself, or worse yet, you deserve all of that reputation damage that you got. You're going to have to build it up. Now here's where the hard work comes in. You need to find somebody who's the antithesis of what you've been accused of and build their trust. Then their trust spreads out to other people. When you're going to make these mistakes, and you will make these mistakes, make them young and make them fast. Because the first time you work at building your reputation back up, you're going to learn the lesson that you never want to do it again. At the end of the day, if you learn nothing else, just learn this. Nobody really cares. So if you keep your mouth shut, poke fun at things that are meant to hurt you, and don't take it too seriously, you'll be just fine in the long run. Anyways, I want to thank you guys for sitting here, listening to the whole thing. As always, you can check out Carl from Black Label Logic and myself on Red Morning. Saturday morning podcast, 9 to 10 a.m., same channel. Feel free to check in where we talk about all kinds of topics that interest men today. Finally, you can look at the rest of my work on my blog on the website ryanstone.com. And as always, take care, guys.